everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Adams for the Love of Movie Picks. This time around, we're going to be talking about the 2005 film King Kong. Now, this movie, which is based off of the 1930s movie of the same name, stars Naomi Watts as Ann Darrow, Jack Black as Carl Denham, Adrien Brody as Jack Driscoll, Thomas Kretschmann as Captain Engelhorn, Colin Hanks as Preston, Andy Serkis as Lumpy, Evan Park as Hayes, Jamie Bell as Jimmy, Kyle Chandler as Bruce Baxter, and I think that's pretty much the extent of the well-known and important actors in this one. So, King Kong is basically in short, it's a monster movie, but more than that, it's a tale of a young actress in, I believe this is late 1920s New York or early 1930s. They don't really say. Trying to find her way, as well as a conniving, double-dealing, underhanded movie producer trying to make his name. And to do so, they decide to travel to an island that nobody has ever seen before, called Skull Island, which happens to be the home of Kong. It's a really intriguing storyline. Very well done in the choice of the actors that play the main characters. And the special effects are great. The first little bit of the movie is just kind of introducing you to the characters and, what they're doing in life. And, Ann Darrow, basically, Naomi Watts' character is just like a down-on-her-luck actress who's just recently become out of a job. She's always, dreamt of making her name big, whether it be in the play or the movies. And she gets an opportunity when Carl Denham's lead female role of this movie that he's making drops out. So he just happens to find her and offers her the job because she happens to fit into the pre-existing lead female's costumes perfectly. But as it turns out, she's a great actor as well. What seals the deal for her is that her favorite playwright, Jack Driscoll, is involved as well and is on the ship as well, played by Adrien Brody. And then, of course, Carl, the movie producer, he's basically, invested a bunch of money from a studio company, started to do some shoots, and they're not impressed. They're ready to pull the plug on the whole thing, and Carl's basically going to be ruined. He steals the existing footage and sneaks off onto a ship bound for Skull Island. He lies to a lot of the people and says under the false pretense that they're going to Singapore when they're going to Skull Island. Now, the captain happens to catch wise through a telegram that Carl has got a warrant out for his arrest by the studio company for stealing the film. And, obviously stealing their money. Not making use of their money. And, and before he has a chance to turn the ship around and bring Carl in, they actually stumble upon Skull Island and they wash ashore. There they find the local people, as well as Kong, and as well as a prehistoric world that seems from another time and place. There's obviously Kong, there's dinosaurs, there's giant insects, and giant creatures, it proves to be a quite deadly adventure. It's just kind of one of those classic, intrepid explorers visiting a far-off foreign land that no normal modern man has ever gazed his eyes upon before. It's just a great classic tale. And then when Carl's movie goes awry because the film gets destroyed in the camera, he decides to, with the help of Captain Engelhorn and his ship that he hired, the Venture, because they're expert animal trappers, he inquires their help to capture Kong and bring him back to New York for the world to see for the price of admission. It works out at first, but then Kong escapes because Naomi Watts' character, Ann Darrow, is captured by the locals and offered up as a sacrifice to Kong. But Kong, rather than eat her or kill her, I don't know if he falls in love with her or just, finds her fascinating, but he develops a connection with her regardless. Excuse me. And basically, when they bring him back to New York, he escaped with the one goal of trying to find Andero. And in doing so, causes havoc in New York, and ends up climbing. The famous scene where he climbs the Empire State Building, which at that time is the tallest building in New York, and ends up getting killed, unfortunately. So the only thing I don't like about this movie, I mean, even though it keeps you intrigued pretty much throughout the whole movie, it is an over 3 hour long movie. 3 hours and 8 minutes to be exact. So it's a fairly long movie, but it is worth the watch. It's definitely an enjoyable film, in my opinion. Hard to believe this movie is now 21 years old, but there you are, folks. I highly recommend King Kong if you've never seen the original or this one. I mean, I definitely recommend this one. I personally have never seen the original from 1930s, but I've seen clips of it, and it's quite hilarious just because of, how bad the King Kong is in it. But this one is definitely a little more realistic, and I think quite enjoyable. So if you've never seen King Kong, check it out. You won't be disappointed. As always, if you enjoy my video, please click that thumbs up, leave a like down below. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section. If you really enjoy my channel, please subscribe, okay? I greatly appreciate it. You take care of yourselves, folks, and we'll catch you next week for another episode.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.